The last lesson in room 11. The rain fell hard over the rooftops of Yunzhou No. 2 Middle School, making a restless beat on the tiles like fingers drumming in anxiety. The campus was shut, but a boy stood at the rusting school gate, hood up, shoes soaked, breath shallow. His name was Jian Wei, a 14-year-old orphan who had learned to disappear in crowds and speak only when necessary. But tonight, he was chasing something most people didn't: the truth. 3 weeks had passed since teacher Hua, his favorite teacher, had gone missing. No farewell, no warning. Some whispered she'd run off with money. Others blamed the ghosts of the mountain temple nearby. But Jian refused to believe she'd leave without saying goodbye. She had always seen him, even when no one else did. She once stayed after school just to teach him how to write poetry. She was the first adult who asked, "Have you eaten today?" The police had come and locked up room 11, where she used to teach, but left without answers. Jian would have stayed silent too, until he found a note, folded neatly inside his math textbook. A note written in her unmistakable calligraphy. "Wei, if they silence me, the truth is hidden where only the forgotten go. Room 11, midnight, H." Now, under the blanket of storm and shadow, Jian slipped through the broken side door and crept down the unlit hallway. The old school building creaked under the weight of secrets. Room 11 loomed ahead, door sealed with police tape. Jian pulled it aside and slipped inside. Dust blanketed the desks like a final breath. On the chalkboard, the remains of a half-erased lesson lingered, but just below it, a new message had been scribbled in shaky handwriting. A shadow hidden in ink, a face behind the frame. The lessons stop at noon, but guilt forgets its name. It was a riddle, her favorite way to teach him. He remembered her voice. "Truth wears poetry like a mask, Wei. You have to listen between the lines." He looked up at the chalkboard, at the framed portrait of Confucius hanging above it. Something about the way it was slightly crooked tugged at him. Jian climbed a desk and lifted the frame. Behind it, taped carefully to the wall, was a folded paper. It was no riddle this time. It was a lesson plan. But it wasn't for school. It was a treasure map. Each bullet point was a location. Chemistry lab, 3rd floor tile near Fume Hood Library, shelf D3, ancient China. Music room, inside the broken piano pedal. He followed them one by one. In the chemistry lab, he dug beneath the floor tile to find a rusted key wrapped in silk. In the library, he removed a thick history book and found an envelope filled with photographs, clay statues, coins, ancient scrolls, all marked confiscated. And inside the piano pedal, he found a small tape recorder, dusty but intact. His heart thudded as he pressed play. The voice that came through made him stop breathing. "If you found this, it means you didn't give up. Wei, I'm proud of you. Listen carefully. I found something I shouldn't have. Ancient artifacts are being stolen from local temples and museums, then smuggled through school supply trucks. Someone in this school is in charge. His name is Liao, the principal. He found out I knew. If anything happens to me, go to Officer Sheng at the Yunzhou precinct. No one else. They may be watching you too." She paused. "I never had children, but if I did, I'd want them to be like you." Tears stung his eyes. He gripped the recorder tight. Every shadow in the room suddenly felt alive. The principal's office. That was the next step. Sneaking past the empty staff rooms and avoiding the janitor's flashlight, Jian reached the office. He stepped inside and locked the door behind him. Rain beat louder against the windows, as if trying to warn him. He searched every drawer until his knuckles bled. Then he tapped the bottom of the last one. Hollow. Jian used the screwdriver he'd kept in his bag to pry it open. A ledger lay inside, a book bound in red leather and filled with columns of names, dates, and cash transfers. Pages also included lists of artifact names and shipment codes. Suddenly, footsteps. The door swung open. A flashlight hit his eyes. "Put that down," said a cold voice. It was Principal Liao. Jian froze. The man stepped inside, his voice smooth like oil on a blade. "You've been a busy boy, like your teacher." She didn't know how to stay quiet either. Liao moved closer. Jian clutched the ledger, his voice cracking. "She trusted me." "Well, that's unfortunate." Liao reached into his coat. "Stop right there!" A loud voice echoed behind him. It was Officer Sheng, pistol raised, soaked from rain. "Step back, Liao. We've been watching you for months, but we had no proof until tonight." Liao turned sharply, lunged toward Jian, but Officer Sheng tackled him, the ledger flying across the floor. In moments, Liao was in cuffs, growling threats that meant nothing anymore. Jian sat frozen, heart pounding like a war drum. 3 days later, they found Teacher Hua alive. Drugged and locked in a remote warehouse, she had been left there, waiting to be dealt with once things cooled down. She was weak but smiling when she saw Jian. "You solved it," she whispered. "You saved me." Jian cried into her shoulder. "You taught me how." By spring, the school had transformed. Principal Liao was jailed. The trafficking ring dismantled. Room 11 reopened. They renamed it Hua's Hope Room. During the reopening ceremony, Teacher Hua called Jian to the front. She unfolded a poem he had written the week before and asked to read it aloud. "The rain will stop, the ink will dry, but truth will echo, never die. A boy once walked through Shadow's door and found the light worth fighting for." Applause followed. But Jian didn't care about fame. What mattered was that good people still mattered. That one curious kid, one loved teacher, and one hidden truth could change everything. Morals of the story. Curiosity, when guided by courage, becomes discovery. Great teachers do more than teach, they awaken us. Truth may be buried in silence, but it leaves a trail for the brave. Even a child can unmask crime with integrity and a strong heart. Real heroes aren't the loudest, they're the ones who choose to act when no one's watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.